may I come in?
Yes, please come, Riju.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. So, Riju, tell us about yourself briefly, your academic qualifications, your work experience, and your main hobbies.
Sir, I am Riju Shrivastava. I was born in the city of Vidisha, Madhya Pradesh, and I did my schooling from Bhopal. Then I went on to pursue my graduation in economics from Shriram College of Commerce, University of Delhi. Post my graduation, I have worked as a LAMP fellow with Honorable Member of Parliament in Rajya Sabha, and my interests and hobbies include scrapbooking and journaling.
All right. So, Riju, you mentioned that Vidisha is your birthplace.
Yes.
So, what is the history behind Vidisha? If you can just recall very briefly.
So, Vidisha has a rich history, and it dates back to Mauryan Empire, where Ashok's first wife belonged to Vidisha, and he was instrumental in the construction of Sachi Stoop near Vidisha.
And why is why Madhya Pradesh calls itself as the heart of incredible India?
Sir, there are multiple factors to it. First one is its geographical location, as heart is in the center of our body, Madhya Pradesh is in the center of the country, and also because heart is one which is keeping us alive. The culture, heritage, geographical beauty, and the various other factors, the rich cultural and social diversity is what keeps our country alive.
And why is India incredible?
So, it has a lot of factors for India also. The rich unity in diversity is one of the main factor which makes India incredible. We have huge geographical distances from north to south, and more than 200 languages, so many cultures. So it's like so many people gelling together, living together.
Okay. Tell me, you are working as a legislative assistant to MP, some fellowship you are doing?
Yes, sir. It was a fellowship which recently got completed.
So tell me, and you have been in Lok Sabha intern also, what is the difference between the election to a Lok Sabha MP and election to a Rajya Sabha MP?
Sir, election to Lok Sabha is by the first past the post system, and election to Rajya Sabha is by the proportional representation system. And for election to Lok Sabha, the country is divided into various constituencies, and all the people directly vote. Whereas for the Rajya Sabha, the pattern is different. It is the MLAs and the MPs vote for the members of Rajya Sabha.
Is the electronic voting machine used for Rajya Sabha MP elections? Rajya Sabha MP elections, yeah.
Sir, I am not sure about.
You're not sure, but you said proportional representation. So how is it? How is the process different?
Sir, for the Rajya Sabha, it's in the proportion of the votes that the party gets. Whereas for first past the post system, if you are getting more than all other candidates, you are elected.
Mm-hmm. You are an economics graduate from SRCC, correct?
Yes.
Now, Prime Minister has recently told that if WTO allows, India can feed the world. Now, what message the Prime Minister is giving to the world?
So, the message of Atmanirbharta is one thing, that not only we can feed ourselves but the entire world, and the India is the leading producer in the agricultural sector. So this was with respect to wheat, that we can now we are ready enough to export wheat and the quality wheat.
Is it, you think that it is a kind of diplomacy, food grain diplomacy?
Yes, sir. India is presenting itself as the leader not only in the southern bloc but for the entire world.
Riju, we are concentrating a lot on South China Sea, right? Now, according to you, in terms of our relations, which country in the South China Sea area are our foes and which are the friends?
So the world is in a geopolitical flux. So there are no permanent foes or permanent friends. But in the current scenario, we can see that maybe Japan, Australia, and the ASEAN countries can be our friends, and China may be a competitor.
So you would not be able to know what relation we have with the countries in the South China Sea area, particularly.
So can you
ASEAN is a very big association, all the 10 countries in ASEAN. But South China Sea is, has got just a handful of nations.
Yes. So
Australia comes more in the Indo-Pacific area.
Yes. South Korea.
South Korea, we have good relations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Riju, I'm very fascinated by your DAF, and I find that you have participated in NSS.
Yes.
What were the activities that you were involved in?
Sir, I was involved in Project Sanskar that tutors kids who are underprivileged economically.
And what was the areas of the tutorials?
So the basic algebra and English letters, English language.
Okay, the general age of the students you were mentoring was around maybe 10 and 11.
Yes, sir, it ranged from 7 to 11.
Do you teach algebra to students who are at the age of 10 also now?
Sir, basic mathematics. And
Okay, basic mathematics. Yes. Never mind, perfectly all right. There's a talk they say that military training should be made compulsory in India. NSS could be an option that if you're not, but one of the three, NCC, NSS, and military training should be made compulsory. What is your take on that?
Sir, I believe that these three areas, one should be willing and be proficient in for a good life, but I think it should be as per the candidate, or it should be optional. And if they feel that working in NSS or NCC will imbibe those values, then they should come forward voluntarily, and it should not be mandatory.
Good. Now I'd like to say that you are also have been a part of the empowerment project. What empowerment aspects did you address? Were you part of the empowerment team, or you were imparting the training for empowerment, and to whom?
Sir, it was an Indo-UK exchange program, and it was an incoming program. So students from the University of UK came to India, and in that we had a 3-day program in which we dealt with how education is instrumental in overall empowerment of the person. So I was not in a way training individuals. It was a cultural exchange program in which we just had discussions and debates. Sir.
Primarily, Riju, we come to a larger question, empowerment of women in India. We talk of so much empowerment. After the unfortunate Nirbhaya case, there came the 13th Criminal Law Amendment Act. Have you heard of the 13th Criminal Law Amendment Act?
Sir, I've heard of it.
Would you be able to shed some light on that, or we should go to another topic?
Sir, I'll be not able to recall the provisions right now of the act. But
Don't worry, we'll go. It's not possible to recall everything by memory. But as a lady, as an enlightened citizen of the country, do you think after the 13th Criminal Law Amendment Act, so much of legislation and so much of proactive action, affirmative action, are women more safe than they were in 2010? Or they are less safe? Or status quo, no change?
Sir, I believe that there has been increase in the safety of women, and women are more safe than they were in 2010. And there have been steps both by the government and even society. The perception of the society has also seen an improvement. So
there's a German philosopher who said about India, lofty ideals, lowly conduct. When it comes to treatment of women, lofty ideals, lowly conduct. Whether you agree with this or you disagree with this, and your reasons.
Sir, I do not agree to the statement. Ideals are not lofty. Only when we aim high, then only we are able to move towards the path. And the conduct is also improving. There is a long way to go, but still we cannot say that it's lowly conduct. We are striving.
Okay, now we shift gears and come to Naxalism, left-wing extremism. Again, the watershed year being 2010 and today 2022, Do you think we have been able to do something drastically positive to contain left-wing extremism, or we still have a long way to go?
Sir, I believe both the things. In the first one, we have been able to do a lot in this field. Operation like the mission Samadhan is doing really well, and still we have a long way to go, as the number of districts in the red corridor is still 50 to 60. So we need to reduce that.
But in 2010, it was 40% of the landmass of the country is impacted directly by the left-wing extremism. Today, certainly not 40%, it's much, much less than that.
Yes, sir.
So, do you think that something positive must have been done?
Yes, sir. Certainly, sir.
Okay, my last question. You are a district magistrate and you have the option of picking up an assistant for a very sensitive role. One is very competent but very dishonest. The other is very honest but less competent. Whom will you pick and why?
Sir, I think I'll pick the one who is honest and less competent, because training and skills can be acquired through practice and imparting training. But honesty as a virtue comes from within the person, which is very difficult to maintain.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Shanta.
sir.
I'm interested in history, and you are a resident of Bhopal. I go there. Which 3 places of importance you would like to show me in that order? Please tell me.
The first one would be Bhimbetka Caves, which is very near. Second one would be Tajul Masajid, which is one of the biggest mosques of Asia. And so third would be, it's nearby Bhopal, Sanchi Stoop, or the fourth one could be Bhojtal Lake.
How old is the mosque?
So it dates back to 14th or 15th century. I'm not able to recall the exact.
And Bhimbetka?
So Bhimbetka dates back to Paleolithic age, prehistoric times.
Worth seeing.
Yes, sir.
Worth seeing. You are
Yes,
recommending.
sir.
Worth seeing. Okay.
Definitely.
Any cultural center in Bhopal? Because we keep hearing here and there that a lot of cultural activities, plays.
So Bharat Bhavan is one.
Bharat Bhavan is
Yes,
one.
sir. Ravindra Bhavan, Bharat Bhavan.
So a lot of cultural activity
Yes,
in
sir.
Bhopal.
All the time.
Okay, I can ask you some questions. Say, are you aware about NDRF?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
National Disaster Response Fund. And National Disaster Response Force also.
Right. Now, how effective is it, you think,
Sir,
in tackling the disasters and all, by your assessment?
Sir, I feel it has been quite effective in tackling disasters, and the emergency response that it gives is really worth appreciating. Many a times, sometimes we've seen that maybe it has not been that effective, but overall as a response force, I find it really effective.
Where in recent times it was in the news? Which problem?
Sir, I've just...
It's okay. If you don't remember, it's all right. We have seen, I'll ask you some questions on the external front. Are you aware about ASEAN?
Yes, sir.
What is the full form of ASEAN?
Association of Southeast Asian Nation.
Asian?
Nation.
Very good. Is India a member of that?
No, sir.
No. Now, a very burning question. There had been many bank defaulters. You may have heard the name of Nirav Modi, Vijay Mallya, etc., etc. They have been absconding for long, absconding or caught in legal tangle. Have you ever thought that what would be the best way to bring them back here?
Sir, two things come to my mind
Yes.
regarding this. First, that the prudential norms and when the loans are given, so the prudential norms and regulatory forbearance should be there, and there should be active monitoring of the loans so that they don't.
No. What I'm saying is, Riju is, they are already absconding abroad. What can we do to bring them back? What additional step?
So there should be common international laws regarding such defaults. If a person is absconding. So those laws should be implemented, and India has not signed the treaty. I'm not sure about the treaty, but India is not signed the treaty with.
All. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. Sir.
You are from Madhya Pradesh. And Madhya Pradesh has got the largest number of tribal population in the country. How do you see their socio-economic condition vis-a-vis general population?
Sir, Madhya Pradesh has diversity in tribes. There are Bhils, Gonds, Saharias, Vegas. So each tribe has its different characteristics and different development parameters where they stand. So some tribes have been able to merge with the mainstream society, and their parameters like sex ratio, etc., are quite good. They are like Gonds and Bhils. However, Vegas and Saharias, they are still lagging behind, and they are PVTGs. So,
Okay. So what mechanism do Government of India have in terms of financing their developmental, their developmental activities or plans?
so there are some central sponsored schemes and central sector schemes. One, we have Eklavya model schools specifically for tribal students, and one more scheme which has recently come up is the MSP, the food for where tribals can come up with their own indigenous products that they are making, and try food. The development corporation can help in marketing those products. So these are some of the.
There is some kind of flagship plan also, some overarching kind of strategy for comprehensive development of tribals using different schemes. Any idea? Have you heard of tribal supply?
Yes, sir.
How does it work? Tribal supply. What is the strategy? How tribal supply is being financed?
Sir, I'm not sure about.
Okay, no problem. It's okay. Now you have also Riju worked as Green Governance Initiative as young leader.
Yes.
So whatever experience you have gained as young leader, do you think you will be able to implement when you become district collector? And will it not, because when we talk of green governance, so there is generally conflict with the vested interests of economic development. So how would you balance?
Sir, answering your first question, that how would I use it in as a DM. So, sir, when I was working, I was working on a particular sustainable development goal, that was quality education, SDG 4. So I came to know some of the problems that children face in quality education. So those problems can only when we know the problems we can find solutions.
Okay.
So as DM, one of the things is to come up with innovation and also implementation of the policies. So innovation is possible only when we know the roots and the causes. So that is where this would help me. I have in this particular sector.
You are also associated with the Member of Parliament's this scheme.
Yes.
You were there as intern also, then legislative assistant
Yes.
also. Now you have heard of the scheme MP lads.
Yes.
MP lads have been in controversy because of special privileges for MPs and sometimes corruption issues also. But do you also see some positive, some significant things about it, positive from the positive point of view? Can you tell me two things which are unique about this scheme, which can really be exposed, can be termed as its positive sides?
So first one is that MPs are given the 5 crore fund that they can use in their district, in their constituency. So as MPs represent the will of the people, so having certain financial powers in their hand to bring development in the constituency is nice in that way. And we have seen many constituencies utilizing the fund. Telangana is the leading utilization state for MP lads. So in many constituencies, we have seen that the fund has been utilized. And with that fund, on the ground level, many infrastructure, social as well as physical infrastructure projects have been started.
Okay. Suppose I am in a village and I need a kind of water harvesting structure in my village for improving the agriculture farming in my village. So if I go for the normal route of applying to BDO through panchayats and then it goes to the district plan, etc., how much time do you think it will take? Roughly some idea.
So it depends on the efficiency
Even if
of
the system is very efficient.
it would take a few days at least.
But in MP lads,
Direct-
45 days is the condition, that within 45 days the work must sanction
Yes,
by
sir.
the district collector.
collector. Yes.
So that is one very distinct advantage, that wherever there are some small gaps in infrastructure, MPs can use their funds, and the district, as per the guidelines, district collector is obliged to sanction within 45 days.
Yes.
And okay, fine, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
What is meant by developmental economics?
So development is a very broad concept. So economics, that is using the scarce resources to the optimum utilization for not only growth but also development in social, physical, human resource sectors.
Can you provide any instance when this has been so done in India?
Sir, it's the current strategy of the government, the socialist inclination is towards developmental economics only.
What are the main challenges to the promotion of education of girl child?
So the first one I think is the societal attitude as well as personal attitude towards the girl child. She should be seen as equal, and many a times we've seen that they are treated as burden due to a lot of factors, dowry, etc., associated as evils with the. And the second one is the social and the physical infrastructure, which is not present at all the places. For example, there are not public toilets along with the school for girls. So maybe that is the reason they have to drop out at a lot of places. And so third, networking capacities of girl, because they've been restricted a lot many times to home, and they have not been able to get suitable employment in, like their labor force participation rate is also low. So networking and social capital is not built. So
How has been the practice of independent directors in the companies so far?
Sir, I am not very good I don't have a good assessment on this.
Okay. Next question, you are the DM in a district which is having a problem of social disharmony. How can you use social media to deal with this problem?
Sir, it could be done at 3 steps. First, it could be done at the preventive step, so that proactive approach is taken, and regular meetings with the media persons could be done, so that they share the positive news and do not instill any fake news or any news which could cause public disharmony. Second would be at my individual level. I would use my social media accounts to the best of my abilities, in the sense that awareness can be created towards problems, towards certain schemes. Second, to tell that this is the correct news and not fake news. So through my personal social media platform also we can share this. So this is what comes to my mind.
Okay. Thank you. That will do.
Thanks.
So, Riju, we have come to the last question, and that would be from a topic or subject which we would like you to choose.
So it could be related to social issue of women empowerment.
Women empowerment, all right. So tell me how technology has helped the women in their work space and for their security and safety.
Sir, we've seen with the coming of technology, like the CCTV cameras and the surveillance, so it is ensuring women to be out even at nights and late night and can equally work as men in the late night shifts. So that is first factor. So second, I think through technology, women are getting more opportunities to explore their interest and come out. For example, social media or YouTube has also helped in online education. So that is another thing. We can have more options to explore and not just be restricted to the four walls of the house. And third, it is also helped, like the recently remotely working has helped women to have a better work-life balance, which unfortunately women has a greater share or burden of the household chores. So that has been balanced, and men are also equally, the society is coming forward to empower.
You did not cover security safety aspect.
Sir,
You mentioned CCTV, that was for security. Okay.
sir,
All right. Anything else? Any other point?
no, sir, it was great.
So Riju, before I give comments on behalf of the panel, you can just mention to us how you think you performed. Make your self-assessment.
Sir, knowledge-wise, I think I need to brush up somewhere in some of the fields, and so this is what is coming to my
What?
mind.
Let's be more specific. Knowledge-wise, what knowledge in the sense of the questions that were asked?
Sir, I could have given more points, suitable points to the answer.
Which answer?
The
All
last,
the questions.
the women empowerment one, or
Yes, that you could have, yes. So I'll answer, give our reaction, every time you mention. What else?
sir, this
Okay.
is
So, see, Riju, you have done very well. Your performance, the panel has very impressed, and you have a varied interest. You could cover very well informed, could speak and field questions on almost all topics. It's a different matter that some of them may not be so structured, some of them may, but some of the questions that you could not structure them, I think you could think of, since you yourself mentioned that women empowerment is your topic.
Yes, sir.
So always remember, you must prepare in advance. This question, 50%, 60% of the boards, one doesn't know which board you will land up in. But be prepared. They may ask you the last question as to
Sir,
what
I wanted to ask, should we say something or should we just say that it's
you tell. What does your conscience say?
So it depends on the situation, how your interview is going.
No, interview has gone off well as per your satisfaction, and then also the question is asked. What would you do?
So maybe we can prepare and then tell them that this is our comfort area, or this is where we want to talk about. This is the area we should.
On the last question.
So if they ask that, like in the board you asked that whether you want to.
So what is your decision? Should you say yes and tell the topic, or should you say no, ma'am, it's okay, no, sir, it's okay?
Sir, I'm not sure about this.
So that's what I'm saying. You must say that, sir, you may ask from this or this or this.
Okay.
You picked up, a very good subject, and don't never ask them to ask from your hobbies, singing, dancing, guitar. What question? I mean, we are discussing such an intellectual discussion. Suddenly guitar comes, so that shows how your mind you're looking for the
Focus
safer
towards-
pastures, something where where you're passionate about. Never do that. But you must say, yes, sir, ma'am, I would like you to ask from this area, women empowerment. And you chose a very good topic because you're a woman, and so, but be prepared, be structured. Women empowerment can be on what are the judicial decisions, Supreme Court landmark judgments on women empowerment, right? What have been the administrative reforms on women empowerment?
A specific.
There can be women empowerment, can be, they can even say Madhya Pradesh. What has Madhya Pradesh done for women empowerment? And likewise, legal, social, right? So this is one. So otherwise you were very good, and some of the current affairs, probably our panel member found that you could brush up your current affairs a bit more. If you want, Nilji, you can mention some of the points because she can be.
Yes.
I asked you this question, particularly you were working with member of parliament as intern. And this is one of the most important schemes for MPs. Correct.
Yes.
I think
Sir,
you touched
I
one good point. You touched one good point that they are public representatives and they can really they know better about the local requirement. But this one point also is very important.
Yes,
That
sir.
the kind of fastness, the quick, the way the schemes of MP-led can be implemented. So you can see on the ground within 3 months the entire structure,
Yes.
which would take some time, maybe minimum if the system is very efficient. Because system is like that, because it goes to panchayat, then it goes to BDOs, district, because then there are budgetary provision has to be made for this. So 5-6 months it takes even to start to sanction the scheme. That is the normal procedure.
Yes.
Whereas in MP-led, 45 is the upper time limit.
Yes.
Within 45 days, district collector has to, once honorable MP writes on his letterhead to the district collector that this scheme is sanctioned, within 45 days from that day, the scheme has to be sanctioned, and immediately it goes to the department for execution. That is one good part of it. There are of course a lot of controversies about it.
Yes, sir.
And second part also is equally that third part. One you have already mentioned. Third is your this social auditing is inbuilt in this, because every member in the constituency knows that this MP is getting 5 crore rupees where it has gone.
It's going. Yes.
So that social auditing is inbuilt in the scheme.
Inbuilt.
So that is another. Anyway, you are not off the mark. You really made a good point. And on green governance issues also, because women, you said education. But green governance का भी एक दो point इसमें और if you could add it on the environment side. When we talk of green governance, so that aspect also, how green governance you would be implementing in as a district collector.
So, Riju, you have to brush up economics a bit more. Somehow, I don't know why I'm getting this feeling that you had not replied to one of the economics.
Yes,
Which
the
one was it?
Independent
directors.
Yes, the
Independent
director.
It's very,
Yes,
and
yes,
application of developmental economy.
yes. And you are a eco,
yeah,
SRCC is one of the best institutions, so brush up that eco also. Anything you would like to ask us?
Sir, the questions like in some of the boards I've seen, what is your biggest achievement in life or what is your biggest failure? So in such questions, how should we answer? Like for the what I personally believe for the achievement, there's no one particular instance that I think that this was my biggest achievement. It could be the things I was not able to do, and with practice I'm able to do. That is, I feel accomplished in that way. Maybe it's driving, or maybe it can be anything which I was not able to do earlier and now I'm able to do. So can we reply such, or we need to be pinpointed in the
No,
such type of questions?
in such interviews, what have you replied? If we can just get an idea.
Sir, I've replied this only.
What? Driving?
Sir, doing.
इसका हल्का है थोड़ा सा.
So,
Had I been you, I would have said, sir, my reaching to this stage and appearing before the esteemed board for civil services, I think I consider that as my biggest achievement.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm अपनी बात कह रहा हूँ. I'm not imposing on you.
So driving was just an example. I didn't mention driving, but doing things which I am not able to do earlier, and with constant practice I'm able to do. All those things make me feel achievement or accomplished. So that was it.
See, first thing is that it should be related to your own success. And number two, it should not be something when my father became, the chief secretary, that was, I think, was the biggest achievement of our
That is
family.
not our achievement.
Correct, your achievement. So make it to yourself. And number two, your achievement should reflect inherently that you have made effort for that. It has not just come, sir, I got a lottery. So what is are you getting my point?
Yeah.
Search something, in your life and something which may have happened also.
So could it be academic achievement then, getting into...
If you are a gold medalist, sir, I always dreamt of topping the university. I had put all, and that was my biggest achievement. I got the appreciation from all over, and at that stage, this gave a big boost to my this thing, and it was like I catapulted, to a bigger orbit and of confidence, and that is why I have come to this stage. Maybe something like that. Qualifying, I have done PhD in with Lok Sabha. It's not a big achievement. Studying or doing something within studies, if you have done something great. Or, sir, when I was rewarded by the Prime Minister of India, for my achievement on this project, and I was called to the Rashtrapati Bhavan or this. It's a big thing. Think big.
Yes.
Talk big. Anything else?
No.
Sure?
Yes.
So you will be appearing in the UPSC for the first time?
So for the interview for the first time,
Okay.
and this is overall my second attempt.
So you have done some mocks before.
Yes, sir.
What you were referring were
Yes, sir.
related to the mocks.
Yes.
Alright. So we have given you 66%, Riju, today. We are quite impressed. Now some of the things that we have mentioned, I think if you plug them, you are a 70%er. How have you done your main exam this time?
I think it was good. I completed all the papers.
Very good. So all the best. Maybe we'll find your name in the list.
Thank you, sir.